I just wanted to pop on here and update you, especially our RSVP club members and all our supporters who give to our work. So you'll remember several weeks ago, I mean it's quite a while ago now, I came on and told you about a little boy called Daniel who got a cancerous tumour on his head, and thankfully it was outside the skull, and we just needed a few £100 to get him the operation. They don't have NHS in Rwanda. So thanks to all those who donated, we paid for the operation. We got him booked in. His mum was ready to bring him. But when she took him to the hospital, she got a really bad bit of news. So apparently the surgeon who does the operations flies in a couple of times a month to Rwanda. I think it's an American surgeon. And so they'd been there the previous week doing as many operations as they could fit in the couple of days that they're in Rwanda. But when they got back home, they contracted the virus, the virus. And so had to go into isolation, obviously couldn't fly, obviously couldn't be working in a hospital at that time. So that really put a hold on everything. But we hoped that, when the surgeon came through that, they'd be able to continue with their trips to Rwanda and do Daniel's surgery, which, he's booked in and the money's there. Unfortunately, at the point where they got out of their own isolation, which was a couple of weeks later, there was a crisis in the hospital. They're usually working in their hometown. And so it's like all surgeons on deck, because we've got to clear the backlog of all these people with cancer and stuff. And so they put their monthly visits to Rwanda on hold indefinitely. Now, in the meantime, you can imagine that it's so rare to have a consultant like this in Rwanda. They're few and far between, unfortunately. So what happened was a massive backlog piled up in Rwanda, and there's now well over 3,000 people urgently waiting for cancer operations. And unfortunately, little Daniel is one of those. So he's on the list, the funds are there, but it's going to be a much longer wait. Initially, it seemed that, I think they kind of booked him in for a couple of weeks after we raised the funds. But now they're just saying to everyone that turns up at the hospital in Rwanda that there's 3,000 people waiting for urgent cancer operations. So, it's a really difficult situation. So I slightly delayed coming back to you on that because we've been in touch with our guy in Rwanda on the ground. He's been backwards and forwards to the hospital. He's been doing everything he can to push Daniel's case forward, and he's been encouraging the mum not to give up hope and everything. So we really need your prayers that little Daniel gets a breakthrough and we can get him the operation. The only thing that's holding it up is the lack of a consultant surgeon in Rwanda at the moment, and there's massive backlog of cases. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is that my youngest daughter, Heather, some years back, she went to live in Uganda, next door to Rwanda, where we work mostly. And she engaged mostly with young people and trying to mentor young people in Uganda to have a better life. And she's been personally helping a single mum or two, helping them set up businesses and stuff. But she's been mentoring a group of schoolgirls who are kind of in and out of school because they can't afford school fees. Education's not free in Uganda. And these girls are like the sort of girls that we sponsor in Rwanda on our child sponsorship scheme. However, these girls are not after that long-term sponsorship. They've got their own plan. They are actually trying to set up a business that not only raises funds for their schooling, but that can involve other girls in the business so that other girls raise money for their schooling. I just found the story absolutely inspirational. So I just asked my daughter to find out what the school fees are. I think there's a group of about 6 to 8 girls, who are trying to start this business and get their school fees sorted. Anyway, we've got the figures, and just to cover them for the next academic year so that they can start this business and be self-funding, the cost for the next academic year is about £1,000 for all of them together. So I'm just wondering if our RSVP 100 club partners and our other partners who support our work financially. Just wondering if between us we could raise £1,000. We've got a man on the ground in Uganda, our friend Simon, who we've done kind of water harvesting with him and conferences and all sorts of stuff in Uganda. So we've got the infrastructure to get the finances to these girls. So those are my 2 requests this week, really. If you can pray for Daniel that he gets a breakthrough and gets the operation that's, you know, the money's there for, that he just gets his place in the queue and get rid of that tumour off the top of his head before it goes into his skull. We really need to pray for that. But also, if any of you felt to give to these half dozen schoolgirls just to cover their school fees for the rest of this year, so that in their spare time out of school they can create this business that will finance their future year's school fees and also finance other girls going through school. If you want to be part of that, it's very simple. Go to rsvptrust.co.uk/donate, and the link's in the description of this video, by the way. And I think there should be a space to leave a little note on there, what you want your donation for. So just put Uganda schoolgirls or something. If there isn't, if I've got that wrong and there isn't space for that note when you're donating, just ping me an email, which is don@rsvptrust.co.uk, and just say I've donated X amount and it's for the Ugandan schoolgirls, and I will personally make sure your donation goes to that cause. So again, we really appreciate all our supporters. Do kind of subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell icon. You'll get notifications of new videos so you can keep up to date with our news. And really appreciate you, love you, and thanks for being a partner in this great work.